I'm here to tell you, fake brisket is here. I have one. We are going to be cooking it up today at Lone Star Grill's pellet smoker. Let's get going. Way back in 2016, I read an article on some nefarious goings-ons at various dining houses and restaurants. Basically, the proprietors of those businesses were having fake steaks fabricated, mainly filet mignons, and passing them off to the customers as the real deal. What they were doing, they were taking scraps of meat and using a product that is known as meat glue. It's an enzyme called transglutaminase, and they were really fast. Transglutaminase, it's a natural enzyme that, it's all mammals, it's in their blood, and it bonds proteins together. There's actually, you can get it plant-based as well. But again, it's all natural, but it's used, to add textures to certain meats, formed meats, sausages. It has a legit use, and it's, again, not harmful for humans to eat. I mean, it's natural, but in the wrong hands of someone who's, corrupt, doesn't have any ethics or morals, bad things can be done, and that's what they were doing. They were making fake steaks, selling them to the public. And so I read this expose. I thought it was pretty interesting, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy some of this meat glue, and I am going to make a fake steak. And so what I did was I ordered some moo glue from Amazon, and I basically made a fake, like, prime rib roast. And then I sliced it into steaks. They looked pretty convincing for someone who's never used this stuff before. Grilled it up, tested it out, did a taste test, posted it on YouTube. And 20 minutes after that video posted, I was actually at work, checked my channel to see how the video was doing. And in 20 minutes, it had 30,000 views, which for my channel is crazy. And it was exciting, a little bit like, what the heck's going on? I get home, my email is flooded. My inbox is flooded with emails from across the world. I got an email from the Daily Mirror in the UK, one from some news reporter in Malaysia, I think it was. I got an email from this television show that wanted to talk to me, and I talked to them on the phone. It was about viral videos. And I received kind of a nasty email, an angry email from the vice president of the North American Beef Council, who wasn't happy with my video. He thought it was misrepresenting the industry, which I was just, again, I thought I made it very clear in the video. It was an article I read that I was kind of reacting to. But anyway, the video did very well, and after my video went up, throughout the years, people have been posting fairly kind of similar videos, doing very well, some doing better than mine, and also some videos kind of countering my video, revealing the myth of meat glue and everything. And again, I wasn't trying to attack a product. I know that the competitors use it, the barbecue competitors use it to, keep the chicken skin adhered on the thighs, which is fine. But one video in particular said, you've probably never had meat glue. And I just wanted to address that because, and this is someone who I consider a friend who made this video, and I still do have a lot of respect for this creator. But we've all had meat glue. If you've had hot dogs, if you have had sausage, those of you who eat tofu, it's in tofu, the plant-based version, it's in yogurt. There's so many products. If you've had a sliced turkey sandwich at a deli, turkey breasts don't look like giant footballs. There's no muscle fiber showing in that turkey breast, and there's air bubbles in it. There is transglutaminase in that product. So we've all had transglutaminase. It's not like this horrible, evil product. But again, things in the hands of evil people, they create evil things. And that's basically what I was responding to in my video. Anyway, getting back to my video, this is how I created what I'm calling fake brisket. So in this bowl, I have 4.5 pounds, about 4.5 pounds of meat. And this is stew meat, just cheap chili cuts and a couple like $4 sirloin steaks that I cut up. In this empty rub bottle, I have some of that meat glue. Now when you're using this stuff, you want to make sure that you're not breathing it in, so you want to put on like a painter's mask, a dust mask. I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this on. You can also make an emulsion with water with meat glue, but this is the way I like to do it when it's something like this. I want to get it thoroughly coated with this stuff. Using a spray bottle, I'm just going to get a little bit of water introduced here. Right here is some beef fat that I got from my butcher, and it was given to me in big chunks of fat, so what I did was I froze that and then ran it through my cheese grater. And I'm going to layer this in and get it all tossed into the meat here. And I don't know if I'm going to use all of this. I just wanted to make sure all this cheap meat was also very lean. Now here I have a 12 by 16 by like around 2.5 inches deep stainless steel pan. It's lined with something I don't like, which is cellophane. I don't like it because it doesn't like me, plastic wrap. It's just like trying to wrap a package in the wind with this stuff in me. I'm gonna pack this in there. And I intentionally, before I even line this with the cellophane, I put the meat in here to just see how well it fit, because I want it to be a little higher than the edge here. So I want to get this compressed. Actually, let me throw a little bit more fat in here. And that meat glue doesn't, really bind with the fat, but the fat will be intermixed with all this stuff. So it'll stay in there. It'll stay in there like a steak, like intermuscular fat. That's what we want to transform this very inexpensive meat into something really good and really weird. Like I say, when you're working with this, you want it to be under pressure. So if this was smaller, I would like put it in my chamber vac and get it vacuum sealed so it's really tight. Now I'll take the tag ends, I guess you could call it, I don't know. Now we'll take this lid, and you see how it doesn't seat. What I'm going to do is press it down really hard, and I'm going to lay a dumbbell on this, like probably a 25-pound dumbbell or something, while it's in the refrigerator. Bottom shelf, I emptied out the bottom shelf just for this, and that way it'll have that pressure it needs to really, really melt and bind together. It's going to be weird, hopefully cool. Hopefully you guys will stick around. And here's what it looks like now. So I kept this thing under the pressure in my refrigerator about 30 hours. And it takes time and pressure to really get this stuff to work because, again, transglutamase, it's an enzyme. And you're not actually gluing meat together like an adhesive, like this, gluing it together. It's going to work, and it's more or less kind of melting. It bonds proteins, so it's sort of melting the meat together. So if you do it right, you won't really see any seams. It just sort of, like I said, it looks like almost like a fiberless mass. It's really weird. But anyway, let's get this unwrapped. So all in all, I think I did pretty good. I mean, you can see some little holes here, and that's just where, the meat wasn't pressed together enough. Again, if I was able to use a vacuum sealer for this, it probably would have looked better. But you can see that the meat is actually melded together pretty well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and season it, and I'm using, this is a Bald Buck Bold Taste. It's a good rub. It's more of an all-purpose rub, and it goes really good with beef. There's no sugar in it or anything. All right, looks pretty good. We're gonna let this set. I want this to sweat through the rub a little bit. I have the cooker preheated for 250 degrees Fahrenheit. We're burning hickory pellets, and as soon as this is all sweated through, we'll get it on the pit. All right, we are ready. Run a thermometer in this thing. And we are cooking. So my plan is I'm treating this like a brisket. I don't know if it's going to cook like a brisket. At this point, my brain is telling me, let's cook it to tenderness like I would a brisket. If I'm not getting the feel that I want, then I'm just probably going to cook it to, I don't know, 202 degrees, I'll say. And then we'll pull it, wrap it, let it rest and see what happens. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. So I'll be checking on it to see if it needs to be misted with some water, if it's getting dry, and that first check will be in an hour. So I'll see you then. All right, we are at 2 hours now. The internal temperature here is 138. I didn't spray it on that first hour, didn't need it. We go ahead and mist it, but it's 138 degrees Fahrenheit internal right now. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and that's treating this like a brisket and hoping that it turns out. It's coming up on 139 Fahrenheit internal. I'm going to check in another hour, see how it looks. And again, I'm hoping to get some probe tenderness final product. I'm sure I will, it's meat, right? But it's kind of a weird fabricated thing. We'll see what happens. All right, we are at 3.5 hours. And this is what we're dealing with. We're at 153 degrees internal right now. And I'm just gonna let it roll. So it smells really good, and it's not falling apart, which tells me that I did a good job, using that meat glue. Everything's all bound together. Other than that, I'm just going to continue with the program. I want to cook this like a brisket. So we're at, like I said, 153 right now. I'm just going to let it keep rolling, and hopefully it'll get to a point where it is probe tender. I've never done anything like this before. And I did put plenty of fat inside there with, those chunks of meat. So hopefully it's all keeping nice and moist on the internal portion as well. Anyway, keep you guys posted. We are at 6 hours now. We've got a nice bark. The little divots from the different textures of the meat, there is some pooling in there where it didn't completely crust over, but I've got a nice crust. I'm going to wrap this. We are at coming up on 180 degrees, and it's just not getting tender, so I'm hoping that maybe wrapping will help. I'm just gonna I didn't pre-measure this for this little teeny piece of meat here. There we go. All right, back it goes. I'll get that probe in. All right, now I'm just waiting for tenderness. I'll have a probe. I'll probe it a little bit, probably in an hour or so, to see where we're at. Watching the temps. Yeah, like I said, we're at 180 right now. So this is weird. I don't know, do fake briskets stall? That's the question. We'll find out in a bit. All right, we are at 7 hours of cooking, 208 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature now. I've been probing this thing. It's definitely more tender than it was. If this was a brisket, I would not be pulling it just yet, but it's climbing. It's getting close to 210 now, and I just don't know if it's going to get more tender or if it's just going to be ruined if I go any further. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it. I'll let some, the carryover take it up a little bit more, and we'll see what happens on the cutting board. So I'm going to rest this probably, I don't know, 30-40 minutes. A little scared right now. I'll meet you out here in a bit. All right, here it is. A beauty to behold. It's rested up and we'll see what happened here. It smells good in the kitchen. I'll tell you that right now. My kitchen right now smells like barbecued brisket when briskets are resting in my kitchen. So we'll see what happened here. Got a smoke ring. That's the heel of this loaf. Breaking off right there. So you can see it got a really good smoke ring, and you can see the meat did weld together pretty decently, I guess. It's definitely not as tender as I'd want it to be. It's weird. You know, this is such a amalgamation of different cuts. That last little bite I took was pretty good. It's definitely not, you know, really, like I said, real tender. So here's something you will not hear me say too often when I'm doing my taste test part of a video. So the big question is this is this horrible? And no, it's not horrible. Would I do this again? No, I would not. I would do it differently if I do. I may try it again someday, but I was looking at prices because initially what I wanted to do was buy flap meat like you know you'd use for carne asada because it has very obvious grains, and I was just going to lay flap steaks on top of one another with the grains lining up. But looking at the price per pound, it wouldn't have been cost effective. I wanted something that was really cheap. That's what this was, really cheap. And there's just, yeah, I mean, it's a tad bit on the dry side, let's just say. So I don't think brisket lovers have anything to worry about. So what I almost did, now I'm kind of wondering if I should have, I was tempted, actually it was a last minute decision not to do what I'm about to tell you. I was tempted to grind this up with the fat in my meat grinder using the chili grind, so it would be pretty like nuggets. And then I was going to toss all of that in with the meat glue, with the powdered meat glue, and then press it into that pan. I'm just wondering if that would have been a little better. I would have been able to get a little bit more fat actually blended into the meat, and it may have been a lot moister. And yeah, I think if I was to do this again, that's what I would do. My concern was it would just look like a big meatloaf, but I think if I really got it packed in there good, I mean, like used a flat edge, like maybe had a board cut the perfect size of the top of that, the opening of that pan, wrap that in foil, and just really put all my weight into it to where I could get it nice and flat on top. It probably would look pretty darn cool, like a meat brick. So maybe one of these days I'll try that again. I just kind of felt like revisiting meat glue. And I'm glad I did this. It's something I've always wanted to do. Got a really nice smoke ring here. But yeah, it just isn't what I was hoping it would be. But c'est la vie. Anyway, thank you for stopping by and joining me on this journey. It was a weird one. Haven't done anything like this before. Like I said, I'm glad I did it, but I won't do it again. Probably not. Maybe I may do something like this again. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that sub button or ringing the notification bell. Thumb it up if you like it, and I hope you did. It's kind of gross, but it was fun, I guess, right? See you in the next video. I'm going to eat this for you guys. Cheers.